Hey guys, what's up? It's Crowd9 here. I know it's been a while, but today I'm bringing you guys a new Invoked Mekk-Knight deck profile that's gonna be what has been winning my locals, or at least getting the top 3 spots. So, in case you are wondering, I have taken a small break from the game. I am back, so there should be more deck profiles coming up, and I wanted to start it off with my all-time favorite deck of the game, Invoked Mekk-Knight, and kind of give you guys my theories and kind of like my ratios and why, because I have seen people ask me about like why I run certain cards when I'm running it with other certain cards. So hopefully you guys can get some answers and maybe theory craft yourself. And I'm going to go ahead and explain the deck a little bit because, you know, it's been a while. Not everyone might remember what normal summon Alistair unironically does. So, starting off, we do have Alistair the Invoker. On normal or flip summon, you can search out Invocation, and you can target one of your fusion monsters, or kind of any fusion monster, it could be your opponents if you really want to, and boosted by 1000 attack and defense. You're going to be pretty much just normal summoning him and hoping for the best, because one card equals a Makaba or a Pricker Trio nowadays, which is really strong. Following that, we are playing, as I mentioned, the Mech line, which is going to be 2 purple, 2 blue, and 1 indigo. So purple allows you to target a Mech Knight, which is the cost, and then if that resolves, you banish that Mech Knight until your standby phase, which it will just return to the field. It does not cause a chain. And you are able to search another Mech Knight besides purple. So you can target purple, search out a blue, summon blue, and then search out a purple for next turn, or get an indigo if you kind of need that body on board. Really good lineup. Again, really underestimated because it does kind of force your opponent to decide, do they want to give you that +2 advantage, or do they just want to like not and hope for the best? And I guarantee you, this alone has won me more games, even if they like Ash my Alistair or Valor or Impermanence or whatever, and I don't have a fusion play. Just summon blue or get to purple, get 2 monsters on board, and yeah, you guys kind of know where that's going to go from there. 1 copy of Prankatops, we're going second all the time, so if you see him, awesome. He's always good removal on board. Just being able to attack and then pop a Backrow or pop another monster to attack for game afterwards with whatever else you have on field is really strong. So 1 of, he's limited, and he's kind of like the going second staple now. Following that, for the hand trap lineup, we are playing 3 Phantasme. Every deck besides Virtual World runs links, so it's almost like, why wouldn't you want the free pot of greed type of situation? Because he replaces himself, you get to draw 2, put 1 back, albeit sure, but you get to replenish himself. He just ends up being a net neutral, right? You just get a +1 on board, sure, but you get to dig your deck. That's what's important. You get to put back bricks from your hand into your deck, which will be more relevant than actually drawing that next card. And just being able to prevent from targeting, like if you have him on board, then you normal summon Alistair and then Impermanence or Valor it, you just discard a card and negate it, and now you're good to just not have to worry about losing your invocation play. We're playing 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Good card. It's been a good card. I feel like it's never left the game. It's been a meta staple for like, what, 4 years now? So it's Ash. You get to stop them searching, drawing, special summoning. It's a lot. Card is really nutty. And then following that, only 2 copies of Nibiru. I side the 3rd copy, and if you want to, you can do that as well. Again, it's one of those things where it's like, if I see it, cool, and if I don't, it's like, whatever. But I just never felt like I could warrant playing the 3rd one in the main deck at the very least. Being able to wipe your opponent's board is cool, but in the off chance that you are made to go first, or if they're playing, again, not a deck that's going to be spamming monsters on board, you don't want to draw multiples of this card. So it can be kind of a bad card in your hand, but it's kind of the risky play. It's kind of like Phantasme, where if they're playing Virtual, it does nothing, but Nibiru would. It's the catch 50-50. We are playing 2 bricks in our deck. I know, I'll be honest, I wanted the Verte to get banned, or Dragoon to get banned, or Red Eyes Fusion to get banned at this point, but it's not. So why would we not keep playing the easiest engine our deck can make that literally wins us games like almost all the time? Having Makaba be easily summoned and then protect the Anaconda with that Makaba, it's like, why wouldn't you? So, I mean, there's that. Terraforming to get our pretty much one per turn meltdown. Yeah, just it. You just want to play that one terraforming and meltdown because you need to see Alistair a lot. And then I am playing 3 Invocation. This is kind of like that kind of thing that some people might not want to play. You might want to play 2 Invocation, and that's fine. That's completely up to you. I believe my deck is 41 cards right now. So if you really wanted to, you could cut 1 Invocation out. But my logic has been is that if they negate my Alistair, this means I have a bigger chance of having that Invocation in my hand already. And a lot of the time, if you have an Alistair with 2 Invocations and anything that summons itself, like Prankatops, a Mech Knight, Instant Fusion, Mind Control, like anything that kind of like gets another monster on board, you usually win the game 99% of the time. Because you get so much advantage off 2 Invocations, it's actually wild. And that's kind of my reason to why I played 3. I don't think I would play 2 ever if I need Alistair to resolve like 70% of the time. But that's my logic. And then I do play 2 super polys. It's not as good as it's been in the prior formats. We are kind of like in a more not as super poly friendly formats. Because there's a lot of variety in the format. Mud Dragon won't cover everything, Adignister won't cover everything, and then Supreme King, whatever he's called, isn't going to cover everything. Yeah, sure, your invoked monsters are options for super poly, but getting that Alistair on wow, I can't English. Getting that Alistair on board first is the problem sometimes. So this is an option if you want to take out super poly and then just put something else in it, you can. I still found success with it. You might not. This one is something you need to test at your local, so see if it works for you. If it doesn't, swap it out. There's so many good options. For the one of fusions, I guess, would be Instant Fusion and Red Eyes Fusion. You never really want to open up that one Red Eyes Fusion. It sucks if you open it up because that kind of solidifies your plays. A neat thing, if you want to call it neat, is you can activate Meltdown. If your opponent ashes it, you make Red Eyes Fusion, and yay. So yeah, that's kind of it. There's no neat plays. Every time I've activated Meltdown, people usually ash that. So then when I resolve Red Eyes Fusion, it's like, oh well, you used your 1 ash for the turn, you can't ash me again. And something that people might get kind of wrong, if you have Meltdown on and then you activate Red Eyes Fusion and they ash it, they can do that. That is legal. They can ash it and stop the Red Eyes Fusion because it's negating the effect, not the activation. And that's something that people kind of don't always know. And Instant Fusion is that 1, but it's always a 2-for-1 with the 1000 Eyes Restrict, which is, spoiler alert, coming up. And then following that, I played 2 Pot of Desires. Some people might be like, why are you playing Pot of Desires along with the Dragoon engine? My whole logic has been, if this deck has to grind, you're losing. Invoked Mekk-Knight does not grind very well. You can survive a turn or 2, but you are not winning the grind game. You don't have the resources to really outgrind like trap-based decks like Eldritch or Altergeist. So what do you need to do? If you don't see your Dragoon play and you don't have a good option in your hand, just activate Desires. If you banish the Dragoon package, it's fine, it's whatever. There is kind of a neat little option where if you do draw the Dark Magician and a Phantasme, you can activate Invocation from hand and then fuse those 2 pieces away from your hand to make Dragoon. You only get 1 pop, but it still is another way to get Dragoon. Sure, it's a 1 of Dark Magician, but it's still an option in case that does happen. If you have the Red Eyes and the Dark Magician is banished, your Dragoon package is completely gone. But again, if I don't have the Dragoon, or if I don't feel I need it, or if I am not able to make it, who cares if I banish the pieces, right? My whole thing is, if I'm not winning this turn, I'm probably not winning the game. Then 2 Cosmic Cyclone, Backrow is still a problem, Mystic Mine is a problem, you don't have an inherent out in the deck like some trap or spell card minus generics like this. So unfortunately, you do need Cosmic Cyclone or Twin Twisters or MST or just something to hit Backrow. I found Cosmic to be the best one in essentially every format the past like 2 years, so yay. And then for the 1-ofs, 1 Call by the Grave because hand traps suck and graveyard based decks suck against this deck sometimes. 1 Heartbeats because we hate the Backrow. And then 1 Mind Control because it's always good to link something away, right? Like take something on their board, link it for Anaconda, link it for the Alistair link it for the other options we have in the extra deck. So there's that. And then rounding up the deck, we have 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Generically a good card, being able to use and negate. It's not a trap card that can get called by the grave, and setting it sometimes helps, because I had to set it in an Imperial Order column to win the game the following turn, so that can't happen. That is the main deck. Let's go straight into the extra deck. We are playing, for the Invoke lineup, 2 Makabas. I wish I could play a third one unsarcastically. It comes up sometimes nowadays, but hopefully you don't need to get into that kind of grind state. If you do, again, you're likely not going to win anyways. 1 Purgatrio, because if you ever cut this guy out, I will like cry. Purgatrio is so easy to make, and sometimes this card alone just wins you the game. If they have no pops on board and they summon like 4 monsters out, and you get Purgatrio, you just usually win the game. Then we have Aguides, because you're playing so many fusions, and I got Aguides, I believe, to was it 5k, 6k, 7k? I think it was actually 8k damage. So he has, the first effect is you pop something on the field on his summon, and then when your opponent special summons after this turn that he summoned, you can pop the special summon monster. And then he has a second effect where you can banish a fusion card in your graveyard. He gains that attack until the end of your opponent's turn. So I banished the Dragoon because it was in my graveyard. He was 5k. Then I had 3 Alistairs in hand. I just ditched all 3 of them during damage, and I'm just like 8k. That's it. It's so free. That is the Invoke lineup. I kind of wish I could play like Elysium. I tested with it. It never came up. Elysium never came up, and I love that card. But if I can't make it and if I can't warrant it, I'm not going to play it. So following that, for the instant fusion target, it's Thousand Eyes Restrict. Just really good. This card is always like a 1-for-1, and that's really cool. Because if you always have that, like, you summon him, not only is he going to be a card you link away, he's going to also be a card that takes a resource from your opponent. So it's always a 2-for-1 in my personal opinion. For the Super Poly target, main deck wise anyways, we have Venom. Because you do have a light option, you have a fire option, you have a fusion option, I feel like sometimes the 2 darks does come in clutch, Dragoon Anaconda being the biggest one. If they make that, it's not impossible to out with this deck, but you are wasting more resources than you probably should to get the Dragoon off the field. So just polying those 2 away just to make Venom is just so easy and free. This could be Mud Dragon or anything else you want. I only play 1 major instant fusion target. Sorry, 1 super poly target, but the rest of it is like generic stuff. And then the Dragoon, because I don't know, why is this card not banned, man? For the Link ones, we're playing 1 Almirage, 1 Secure Gardna, and 1 Artemis. So the nice thing about Artemis is that you can make Thousand Eyes into the Artemis, or Alistair, and that's a free Makaba off 1 Alistair. I still play for the fire target and the Secure Gardna, because if you don't have a play besides Makaba, you shouldn't really be wasting Artemis, because Artemis can link into some of Link 2 options we have. And those options are Anaconda, Lina, which is like straight up a secret MVP in this deck that I haven't seen anyone really play or use. Lina is a beast. She's insane. And the Alistair Link. Out of the 3, the Alistair Link is the one I summoned the least, but he does come up on some rare occurrences where the game state is more simplified. I don't need to waste the resources to get into Dragoon via Anaconda, or maybe my opponent doesn't have any light monsters, so I don't need to go into Lina. And the Alistair Link does let me go straight into a Makaba, Purgatrio, and sometimes that second Makaba to go into the Aguides. So you can straight up just run through your entire Invoke lineup in 1 turn. And again, perfectly fine engine. Lina, like I said, is insane, because what you do is you do Alistair into Artemis, and then Artemis and anything else into Lina, summon out your opponent's monster, and then you go into, you know, the usual place, Lean and Axis Code Talker. So pretty simple there, and that's kind of like how you win the game sometimes. You don't need to go into the Boral Sword, even though that's been amazing. If Axis Code ever gets some kind of hit or whatever, sure, Boral Sword will be back, but Axis Code just generically is better and easier to make, and that's kind of what's important with this deck. The side deck, I've always said this in the past, it's going to depend on your locals, your tournament entry. So if you're going into a more meta-focused tournament, this side deck won't be the best for you. But if you're going into a more like semi-casual, semi-competitive, something that kind of works generically still. Side deck, this is what I have. And again, change it how you want. Side deck is usually like 99% preference. So I am playing 3 draw lock because it just stops certain decks right in the tracks, and that's important. The third copy of Nibiru in case they are playing a spam deck, which I do need to get rid of. Same thing with the super poly, because sometimes you do need that third poly because it's like, oh, they're a dark based deck? Why wouldn't I just play this for the free, you know, yoinky yoink? We are playing 2 Twin Twisters on top of everything we're main decking, the 2 Cosmic and the Harpies, because again, trap decks and stun decks are really hard to get rid of with our deck essentially, because we're a beatdown deck. So we need to get those resources out of the way, and Twin Twister is a great way to do that. That is it for the main monsters and the traps. Sorry, the spells. For the trap cards, we're in our side deck. We're playing 3 DDGs. Having everything get banished is really insane because Drytron can't really play. Tri Brigade, they can play, but their plays are hindered a bit. And it's kind of like, this card is honestly really nuts. If you're going first, you kind of hope that you get baited with like a Lightning Storm or something. You just flip this, like, okay, nice Lightning Storm. Good card. You can swap this if you really wanted to. I just found success with it, so I'm keeping it. And then, because this deck just loves Floodgates, 3 Tikaboos. Invoked Mekk-Knight is like one of the few decks that can run this like smoothly. So why wouldn't you run an auto win button against some decks? Because they don't, most decks won't really side in Cosmics and Twin Twisters and Harpies against your deck because you're not really playing strong back row. Your major back row is Cosmic Cyclone and Impermanence. It's not really scary. So when you side this in and you go first and you just flip it, a lot of the time they can't out it. So it's really strong. And then I did mention I do play 2 super poly targets in the side deck, and it would be these 2 guys. Mud Dragon is generically good. Adignister is good because not only can you use your opponent's monsters if they have any Cybruses on the field, you can actually do that yourself by making either of these guys. So these 2 are Cybruses, and all you need to do is, you know, get to these 2, activate super poly, take this away, and then one of your opponent's link monsters, and you make this guy. Against Drytron, you're going to be probably using Mud Dragon a lot of the time because they usually have, I forgot what it was, Fafnir, which is a machine, I believe, and then they'll have Ultimateness or Perfection, which are fairies, but they're both light, so you can super poly them into Mud Dragon. Or if they have something like Anaconda with Dragoon, again, you just yoink them away, and there you go, you have, you know, the Starving Venom already in the main. That's it, guys. It's been a while since I've uploaded, so I'm kind of like lost in thought. I hope you guys enjoyed my deck list. If you have any questions, let me know down below as usual. I'm always happy to answer it, and I hope you guys take care. Hope you guys stayed safe, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Take care.